Now, specifically, Mr. Kerry, I know we've talked a little bit about the non-tariff trade barriers that had been put forward on Chinese imports of our canola products. I'm just curious if you can give me just very quickly a snapshot of where things are at in terms of in terms of addressing those things.
Yeah, the concerns that the Chinese officials cited were around weed seeds and other pathogens like blackleg, and those are issues that were adjudicated at a technical level. Canada did bring forth a WTO case, but as of right now, we have full market access restored with China, and again, not something we take for granted. We don't take any market for granted, but as of right now, all shippers have access to the Chinese market. However, they have to go through the requisite approvals, and canola seed is typically what they want. They like to crush it themselves.
Yeah. So I appreciate that. You'd made a statement that said free trade agreements are the start, and I know I'll be asking our friends from the Canadian Cattle Association some fairly direct questions about this in the next round. But what can the government of Canada do to make sure that we are able to empower industry to actually access the markets that we've signed free trade agreements for, to make sure that our products are in fact getting to markets? And I'll preface that just with a quick anecdote. I speak often with counterparts and ambassadors from other countries, and quite often they highlight how when they speak with the federal government, there's a massive disconnect between what provinces produce. And that's true on agriculture, as it is true on a whole host of other things that are an intricacy of our federation, which many states around the world don't have that same understanding of. So what do we do to make sure that the high quality products that your members, many of which are my constituents, produce? How do we make sure that that can actually get to market and that people know what they're buying, can trust what we're selling, and ultimately provide that reciprocal relationship that is supposed to be what trade is built on?
It certainly comes down to federal provincial collaboration. Many of the provinces have trade offices around the world. I think it's knowing what any particular market wants and what those issues are. Some of them are political, some of them are technical. Developing countries often look to countries like Canada. Help us walk through why your country is not a concern for this pest, this pathogen. But it takes long-term concerted effort, and for those for which we have an FTA, Canada must make sure that our counterparts follow through on the spirit of the agreement. If it says may and they're interpreting shall, you have to hold them accountable for may.
I appreciate that. So Mr. Rines, Mr. Harvey, is there anything you want to add there in 30 seconds or so?
Yeah, just to build on that, when we think about how the government of Canada engages with our counterparts, the benefit of the Indo-Pacific Office is that there is someone who deeply understands the region that is then able to help coordinate the federal government and the provincial assets and resources alongside industry and the group that Michael co-chairs, Mr. Harvey co-chairs, to be able to make those assets be useful and really provide more trade stability over time.
Okay. Mr. Harvey, is there anything you want to add very quickly?
That's good.
Okay. Thank you. And now our friend from the Macdonald Laurier Institute, we've talked a lot about energy security, and Mr. Oliphant made a suggestion that it'd be nice if we talk more about climate change. And I would suggest that the best way that we can address some of the challenges of climate change is get Canadian energy around the world. And that not only deals with climate policy, it deals with security policy, it deals with energy policy, and all of those things make the world a better place. So I'm curious, though, when it comes to the Indo-Pacific, we need to get our resources to market. What can we do to ensure that we can do so quickly? Because right now we see, and over the last especially 2 years, we have seen how energy security, tied with the security of nations, and closely connected to food security as well. But I want to, if you could focus on energy security, how do we actually get our resources to market, whether that's the Indo-Pacific or across the entire planet? In about 30 seconds or so, if you could.
Well, I think infrastructure is absolutely key. So we've just, for the first time in Canada's history, essentially we now have the infrastructure to ship crude oil to Asia, and the first shipment left, like I said, last Wednesday. And hopefully next year, the first major LNG export facility will come online, LNG Canada, and that will start to export to the region. And all of a sudden, Canada's energy exports to that region are going to increase substantially. And so infrastructure is key. We could use more capacity. Clearly, production is there, the resource is there, but the only bottleneck is right now is infrastructure because moving product to Asia is not difficult, and there's certainly a market and demand there.